Hey everybody, Sean Allison here with a spearfishing video from the 15th of May. I went out with my friend Lightning into North Baker rig. It's the only rig of the Baker set that's left standing. Approaching it here. When we fish offshore, some of you guys already know, some of you may not. You really want to use a rig hook. It's like a big giant shepherd's hook. You'll see it here shortly. But I'm getting the line cleated down. Get my my length right here. And then on the other end of that line is this big shepherd's hook. So when you hook up to a rig offshore like this, you really just kind of want to pull up, hook that in there, and then back away. You don't want to jam the nose up in there. This can get kind of hazardous when the seas are rough and the thing's bouncing up and down. Whoever's at the helm's got to be kind of on the ball here. So we're kind of easing up. You don't want to hook things like the handrail. You pull the handrail, rip it over, bend it. You want something solid. Normally these bigger pipes down here work. This is actually where the crew boats pull up alongside to offload people. We're actually, you can't see it here, but with my right hand as we're coming up there and I'm hooking on, I'm telling him when to come forward, when to go backwards. Like as soon as I got that hook on there, I was waving back on him so he could throttle back. So we come back, that comes tight. Now we're kind of set. We don't want that to be too long. As divers, the longer that rope is, the further we've got to swim to get to the rig in the current. And there is a bit of a current here. You can see it flowing past me. That's what we got this red rope here for. I've already gone up and tied it up close to the rig and run it alongside the boat. So we can use it to pull ourselves up so we're not having to fight the current. But I am fighting it a little bit. You see it's kind of pulling me away from the boat. The wind and the current were at odds here. But it was a pretty steady current on the surface. So I'm headed down first. Our goal of this dive was to get our Amberjack. Amberjack season's open in May, then it closes June 1st. It'll open again later in the year, but this is a rare weather window while the Amberjack season's open. We're going to try to get our Amberjack. You see here I'm already getting tangled up in the line, just trying to pull myself to the rig. I don't like being around lines underwater because of that. But I sure wouldn't want to. I sure don't like swimming the current in that either. Anyway, you're already starting to see some Bermuda chubs and stuff here. Those are real common near the surface. As I'm approaching here, this is tied real close to right at the base of the hook. I'm getting my regulator in, and I'm getting ready to go so that as soon as I get to the end of this line, I want to pull myself as close to the rig as I can to kind of mitigate the current and start my descent. I can hold on to the rig if I need to, if the current's too strong. But a lot of times once you get below the surface, you immediately get inside the rig, the current is usually cut back quite a bit. And it's not any different here. Those horizontals you see down below looks really far. That's not really very far. That's only 40 feet. There's a hook hanging right there I just pointed at. We got some jacks, the usuals. That's Crevel there with the yellow on them. I believe a couple of the others were horseside. I'm towing this bottle. I got this bottle clipped to me. This is a steel 72 with a backup regulator. I'm going to tie this to the rig here at 40 feet. The purpose for that is we're going to go down deeper. We're going to be shooting big fish. There's potential that we're going to be down there deeper a little longer than we want to, and we might have to prolong a safety stop or even do a deco stop. We're not planning deco stops here, but I better safe than sorry. So I'm planting a bottle here with a spare rig, just in case something happens and we're coming up. There's a bottle here that we could grab and breathe on to do a deco stop or an extended safety stop if we spent too long at depth fighting a big Amberjack. They do tend to put up a pretty good fight. Jack Crevel come in and take a look at me. It's a big brute there. Bunch of barracuda. Those are just norms on the rig. There's some yellow jacks. No, excuse me. Those are horseside jacks. They had some yellow on the tail, but they had the dark line on the scoots. Those are not good to eat. Most of the jacks are not good to eat. So here, again, I'm going after Amberjack, so I'm headed for those dense pipes kind of on the far side, but I'm descending, I'm loading my gun, and I'm headed across the rig kind of all at the same time here. So I've got my big rife here. I know I'm going to shoot Amberjack, so I kind of want that extended range and that extended punch that this gun gives me. Those horizontals down below me, those are at 130. The bottom depth here at this rig is about 250. So it's quite a ways down to the bottom. Second man. I'm looking around too while I'm doing this. I'm looking over my gun, looking down toward the bottom. I'm looking for amberjack to be coming up to me. I'm looking to see if there's any grouper or big snapper down there. You know, a lot of times they'll get curious and kind of come toward you. And if you try to hide behind the structure, it just makes them that much more curious to come try to get a look at you. So I got my tip on. Got that kind of strung under the band to hold it in place. Taking my safety off, getting ready to fire. Amberjack are no joke. I don't take this lightly. I kind of want to be near horizontals if I shoot an amberjack, which I haven't seen yet. I'm still scanning around. They're probably below these 130s. Very often, once you hit the 130s, they'll come up to meet you and come take a look at you, make a few passes. So right now I'm scanning. I'm looking for amberjack to be coming up. Again, I kind of want one of the horizontals in front of me, because after I shoot an amberjack, the first thing I want to do is go around the rig and clip it off in case I don't get a kill shot on it. That's always the objective, but it doesn't always happen that way. And I don't really want to spend an exorbitant amount of time at 130 feet fighting a fish that can just really whip your butt. I've tried to manhandle those guys. You just can't do it. They will knock your regulator out. They'll knock your mask off. It's better to just let them fight it out. Let them tire themselves out, and then take them up when they're done. And maybe get a kill stab on them before you do it. So here I'm at the 130s. I'm kind of looking down toward the bottom. The viz is really good. I mean, it's 100 foot plus. I'm also looking outside the rig because the previous month I was on this rig and there were lots of African pompano, and I shot an African pompano. The video on that did not come out very good, so I did not get to make a video of it. But I shot a pretty good size African pompano here. Vermilion snapper, that's what the V right there means. There's a whole bunch of vermilion snapper in the water just outside the rig. They're always at around 100, 130 feet just outside the rig in huge schools. So I'm looking for those African pompano. I did not see any on this trip. I did 2 dives. This is the dive 1 of 2. I did not see any African pompano. It's kind of what I was hoping for. But again, amberjack's open, so we're also kind of hunting amberjack. There's an amberjack there coming in to look at me. He's probably a 40, 50 pounder. I'm looking for something bigger. I'm headed toward this cross beam right here because I know other amberjack are going to come up with this guy. And I want to use this, what I'm holding on to, just a pipe with a big anode on top. And I want to use that to have on the other side between me and the fish when I pull the trigger. So you need to see me leapfrogging. I'm hoping he's going to double back at me. And I want the pipe between us so I can go around the pipe and clip him to it. So now he's coming around the outside. I'm flipping back over again. And I'm going to try to take my shot here. He's moving a little faster than I want him to be. He's kind of quartering away. I didn't feel comfortable with the shot, so I kind of took the pass. I know he's going to probably come around another time or two. He won't do this forever. Alright, so I flip-flop again over to the other side. If he comes in close, I'm going to go ahead and get my shot. Of course, he cruises by, but he's a little bit far out there. A little outside my range. I'm thinking, man, he's probably done. He's probably not going to come back. But just in case, I'll flip-flop one more time. If he comes by, you know, I'm definitely taking my shot if he gives it to me. So I kind of adjusted my camera there. Here he comes. All right, I'm taking it. Hit him right below the eye. It went in the right side of his mouth. Came out the left side of his mouth. So I basically shot him through the cheeks. So I'm swimming under the rig. I'm coming up. I'm looking for the cable because they almost always go down when you shoot them. I don't see the cable anywhere. And I'm like, there it is. It's horizontal. So I'm trying to take my clip and clip him off around the rig so he can't go anywhere. So he didn't go down like I expected. He went around that vertical pipe. He's pulling so tight, I can't get it clipped. I'm struggling to pull back on the cable because he's pulling on the other end of it. And I've got the cable around. I'm really struggling. I kind of stretch it and I get it clipped there. So now I can let the gun go. Of course, he comes around the corner right after that. I don't want to get wrapped in the cable. I don't want him to swim over me and tie me to the rig by the cable. Of course, now you see the other amberjack coming up. They want to know what he's got, what's going on. They smell blood in the water. You know, they want something. They don't know if he's got food or he is the food. but they're willing to try both. So I've clipped him off, and now what I'm doing, you know, my computer's telling me I'm down to 5 minutes of bottom time, which is not a lot. I'm trying to survey my amberjack and decide how hurt is he. You see, these others are literally mouthing at him, which is kind of odd. I don't know if they think he's got something. They're trying to help get the spear out of his face. I don't know what these guys are doing. If they're trying to help each other or just eat each other. They're pretty brutal, though. Anyway, I'm trying to go back down now, and I'm hoping this guy is hurt. He needs to wear himself out. I'm at 130 feet. I don't have time to mess around with this fish. So he's not really struggling, though. I know he's not very injured. I don't see any blood. I can tell the shaft is through his cheeks. So right there, I was just pulling on the cable to get him to fight. Now he's fighting. He's trying to get away. That's what I want him to do. The more he does that, the faster he'll wear himself out, the faster I can get a hold of him and get him to the surface. While he's lazily swimming around with the spear shaft through his cheeks, he's not wearing himself out. Again, I'm trying to avoid, you know, I don't want to get wrapped up in the cable, but what I'm doing at this point is he's wrapped up. He needs to wear himself out. It's going to take longer than I have time to sit there. I have a limited air supply. I'm going to go shallower. So I'm going to go up a ways. That's going to increase my allowable bottom time. That's also going to allow my air to not be used up quite so fast because I'm a little bit shallower here. I think I'm going up to about 100. I'm going to hit this cross beam here. I think I may stop there. And I don't want to go all the way up, but I want to go up far enough that I can increase my air supply, my bottom time. I can still see the fish. That's important to me, is that I can see the fish. I want to watch what the fish is doing, and I'm kind of waiting for him to wear himself out. And what I'm looking for is him to start rolling on his sides. And they start getting really exhausted, really tired. They will kind of roll up on their side, and kind of, when they're really done, they'll just flip over and just start floating tail up. But he is still kind of swimming down there, just kind of lazily swimming around. You know, again, I do have a limited air supply, even at the shallow depth. And I'm trying to make a decision here. You know, I'm pointing at him. He's just kind of lazily swimming. The other amberjack are still following him around. But he's not really struggling very much. Again, he's not really wearing himself out. He's tied to the rig, but he's kind of just hanging out on his leash. He's not really struggling and making himself worn out. I need to be able to grab that fish by the throat and carry him by hand to the surface. He absolutely cannot be fighting me while I do that, because it's going to just get too hazardous. So here, I'm still watching him. I see him just kind of, again, he's just kind of lazily swimming around. I'm trying to make a decision right now whether I should go down and force him to wear himself out and just try to manhandle him up. Should I leave him and come back on another dive with another tank of air? You know, what should I do right now? This fish is not really wearing himself out. Again, I'm sitting at probably 100 feet. They're down below 100, just below 130. They're probably at about 140, where he's at the end of the cable. And he's just kind of sitting there. He's not putting up a lot of resistance. So at this point, I'm going head down. I'm beelining it down. He looks like he's starting to wear out just a little bit. You see him struggling a little bit more. Me being close causes him to struggle more, and I kind of want him to struggle more. Again, I want him to wear himself out as quick as I can. At the same time, I know he's not very injured. I kind of just shot him through the mouth. So I'm pulling the cable, kind of yanking on it. I want him to take off. There he goes, right? Boom, I let go of the cable. I don't want my hands to get pinched under it. I don't want to get tangled in this cable and tied to the rig. There is a section of it I can cut right next to the gun that's not cable, but I don't want to have to do that. It's better to just not get tangled in the cable. Alright, so I got him close. I got on the end of the stick there. I know he's not done yet, but he's getting there. He's got a little few twitches. I let him go again. He ain't got much left in him at this point. I know he's almost done. Kind of see him floating sideways there, going upside down. He doesn't have a whole lot of control. He's already bent my shaft a little bit, and that's alright. Amberjacker. That's kind of expected with Amberjack. It's worth it. So he's fighting it out. I'm kind of liking what he's doing now. He's fighting more. He's wearing himself out. Again, I'm sitting down here, though, and I'm really close to being a deco at this point. And I really got to get going. I'm really wanting this fish to kind of die out so I can go down here and take him off the rig and carry him up. So again, I let him go. I'm coming back shallower. You know, I'm definitely running out of bottom time here. I think I got down to like 1 minute left, so I'm going to come up a little bit. Again, conserve some more of my air. I think my air is somewhere around 1,000 pounds at this point. So he is struggling. I'm kind of liking what I'm seeing with him struggling. He is kind of wearing himself out, but then that I don't like. That's a shark coming in. So, okay, now I can't leave him there. The shark's going to come and get him if I don't go get him. So, again, I'm beelining it back down again. This is kind of bounce diving. I really shouldn't be doing this. I don't recommend it. Okay, so now I'm going to try to bring him in and manhandle him and hope that he has worn himself out enough that I can get a knife into his skull and just kind of dispatch him really quickly. I think he's almost there, but he's still got just a little bit of fight in him. These guys are very tenacious fighters. These guys are no joke. And this is a small fish. This is a 48-pound fish. So you can see he's running his nose into the rig now, and then he goes kind of limp for a few seconds. He's about spent. He's almost out of energy. Not quite, though. And again, here I'm worried about him swimming over me and me getting wrapped up in this cable. So before any of that happens, I just let go of it and let him run out to the end of the line. I can pull him back. So here he's going around this vertical, which I kind of like. I'm going to leave him there and get off the cable here. Of course, I'm already getting tangled up in it. I'm going to go around here and pin him up against the rig, so now he can't wrap me up in the cable. He's got himself on a very short leash, and I want to keep him there, push him up against the rig, and try to get my hands up in his gills and throat him. Just grab a fistful of gills, and then get my kill knife out and skull him. Right, so you see now he's really just about done. Of course, that deflects off. That doesn't go in as I'm hoping. I'm not getting in the skull. I can tell it's going in too easy. Normally, once you hit the skull, it takes some effort to really force it the rest of the way in. And I think I'm not... Now that I'm reviewing the video later, I don't think I was stabbing far enough rearward. I was stabbing too close to right behind his eyes, and I should have gone back a little bit more. That stunned him. He's not dead, so I try to stick him a couple more times here. This guy just doesn't want to die. I could tell I'm not going through the skull, though. It's going in way too easy. The fish stopped struggling, though, so I said, good enough. I've got to go right now. So he's limp. He's done, at least for now. Check my depth and time. I think I am in deco at this point, so now I just want to unclip the gun, grab this fish, and start ascending. Mostly, you know, concerned about my air time. But I go up, I get my safety stop done. I had to stab the fish a few times, which I point out here. You can see holes in his belly.
You shot him a little forward, a little low, right to the face.
Yeah, it ain't coming off, that's for sure.
No, he's clean through.
Hey everybody, Scuba Sean here. It's May the 15th, Sunday. Kind of nice day, small break in the weather. This spring's been pretty windy. Today's not super great. Seas are about as good as they've been though, about 3-foot seas. The period is about 3 seconds though, so the waves are real close together. But not too bad, for a decent enough day. We're out here at Baker Rig. See North Baker here. We're tied up, we're already moored up. I've actually already come out from my dive. I just went down, shot an amberjack. I'll make that part of the video. I'm not gonna bother showing him now, but So Amberjack's open in the month of May. It's going to close here in about a couple of weeks. So we came out here to get our Amberjack. I got mine. I'm out here with Lightning. This is Lightning's boat. He's down there right now getting his Amberjack. That'll be our limit. We're allowed one each. Last time I was out here, we saw some African pompano. I did not see any on this dive. I did see a lot of horseye jacks, some creval. Again, I'll make this part of the video. Saw a couple yellow jacks, some okay gray snapper, a couple gray snapper. But again, we're here for bigger game, so I wasn't shooting at any of that smaller stuff. But on the way out here, we noticed what looked like a line on the water, like a rip line. And sometimes you'll get these grass lines form up, and there'll be sargassum in it. Sometimes there's no actual sargassum, but you'll have kind of this brownish line on the water. Some of the stuff that's in the sargassum without it being the weed itself. That's what we thought we were seeing. We ran into it a couple times, but we realized really quickly that it's not a sargassum line. It's actually oil, like a lot. Like probably hundreds of gallons. It's not somebody didn't drop a 5-gallon bucket of oil over the side. I'm gonna get over here where you guys can actually see it, and we probably came across 4 or 5 rip lines like this, and you can see it out here. You see that brown line on the water. It almost looks like a sargassum line. That is not sargassum. That is all oil, and it goes as far as you can see downwind that way. Come over to this side. You can see it through the rig, and it goes as far as you can see out that way, and just kind of keeps going. This is one line. Again, there were several. I mean, it is a ridiculous amount of oil. We did hear over the radio, somebody else already reported it to the Coast Guard, so we didn't bother. The Coast Guard's already aware of it. I don't know where the stuff's coming from. It's not coming from this rig, but it is. Got the wind and the current at odds here, but these lines, they'll kind of pass through and move on. Makes it a little challenging because that stuff gets all over your mast. You can't really just rub it off because it's oil. Same with a boat. I don't know if you see on the windshield here, it looks like salt, but that's oil all over the windshield from the spray. It's kind of ridiculous. It takes some major scrubbing to get all this oil off the boat. But again, I got my Amberjack. Lightning's getting his. I'll try to get some short video of his too when he brings it up. And see on dive 2 and 3, see if we can't find some African pompano, or maybe shoot some gray snap or something like that. But stay tuned. Alright everybody, so this is after my first dive. Lightning's going to get in the water. That's all oil I'm pointing at on the water here. There was an oil spill. The Coast Guard got notified, but quite a bit, like hundreds and hundreds of gallons in the water. So here's Lightning. He did his dive, come back. I was hoping he had his Amberjack. That's what he went down for. Fortunately, he said he shot his fish, and the fish tore off. So on the way to the surface as a consolation prize, he just kind of shot what was available. And that was a big barracuda, which you see right here. I'm pulling out now. Pretty good sized cuda. Some people like these guys, some people don't. He said he actually knows somebody that he trades the barracuda for shrimps. So it sounds like a fair trade to me. So here's me getting ready for my second dive. I already shot my Amberjack. Now I'm just going in to shoot whatever else I might see. I saw some decent gray snapper on the first dive that I would shoot at. Yellow jacks I saw that I didn't shoot at because I was focused on Amberjack. But ultimately I've already shot my Amberjack, so I can't shoot more. So here I see this big snapper. I can't tell if that's a grouper or a snapper. He beelines it straight at me here, and I shoot him and I hit him right between the eyes. When I first saw him, I thought it might be a grouper. I got super excited. As he turned toward me there, started coming toward me, I realized it was a big snapper. About now I'm realizing, man, that's a pretty good size cubera snapper. I knew it was a cubera because it was so dark, but I didn't realize, exactly what size it was. Here, getting my hands on it, it's about what I thought it was, but it's still a pretty impressive fish, pretty good fish. I'm digging it. Beautiful fish. Hit him right between the eyes. Shaft went in one eye, kind of came out the side of the gill plate, back behind the other eye. But got a pretty good anchor point on him. So I shot him. I'm taking him shallower here just to deal with him and get him strung up. Right? Of course, his dorsal spines there just poking the crap out of me, which they always tend to do with snapper. So I'm going to gill him, reach in there, grab a fistful of gills. Just don't put your fingers between the gill rakers. You want to grab the gill rakers in your fist and have your hand just under the gill plate, and you'll be just fine getting your fingers back out. So I'm kind of admiring him. Went ahead and sculled him there, twist the blade, he's done. You see them big canines and those big old chompers sticking out of that mouth there. Beautiful fish. This is the biggest cubera snapper I've ever gotten. So now I'm just kind of surveying around, making sure there's no sharks trying to sneak up on me or anything like that. Looking to see if there's any other snapper coming up and approaching. A lot of times this gets a lot of attention on the rig and other fish want to come around and see what's going on. So I'll get him strung up, get the gun reloaded, kind of headed upward here. Got him on the stringer, just kind of towing him along. I shot him down at about 130, so now I'm coming up a little bit shallower. Out there I see a whole bunch of really big cubera snapper, like 4 or 5 more. They're kind of hard to see on the video here, it doesn't show it very well. But there's several really big snapper out there, and they've got to be cubera snapper. They're way too big to be anything else. So I'm kind of creeping up to the edge here. Wonder if anything's going to come up and approach me. Of course, they just kind of swim off and down and just kind of disappear on me. But kind of take a mental note of where they're at. Say fish through the rig here. Now, Lightning had shot a big amberjack that had torn off. This is his amberjack. I see it. I can see a big white tear on the head. It barely shows up in the video, but when I was there, I could see the big tear mark out through the top of the head where the shaft ripped out of that fish when it took off on him. So here I'm on my way back. This is toward the end of the dive. I'm just looking for a consolation prize. I'm really just kind of headed to the surface at this point. I see some yellowjacks up ahead, and I figure I'll go ahead and take one of these yellowjacks with me. They got a decent size to them. They're pretty good eating, kind of buttery, real white meat. Take a shot at the lead fish. He doubles back on me. I miss. That's kind of the end of the video. Thanks for watching, and I had fun shooting it, and see y'all next time.